Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm not sure when this video is going to be released, but I know it's late. Welcome to the first proper Christmas episode. I know I had to do a Christmas film. I was debating between this or Black Christmas, so if you want Black Christmas next week or the week after, let me know. I still haven't seen Black Christmas, so I'll probably watch that fairly soon. But today's video is probably my second favourite Christmas film ever. Gremlins. So Gremlins was released in 1984, directed by Joe Dante, and was executively produced by Steven Spielberg. Got it. Gremlins is 100% the most iconic and my favourite Christmas horror film. Black Christmas was also pretty iconic, but I'd argue there's no comparison. It's not quite my favourite Christmas film of all time. Don't worry, It's a Wonderful Life, you're still safe. Now, calling this a horror is a bit controversial, but I consider it to be a monster movie slash creature feature, which I'd also consider a subgenre of horror. What I love so much about this film is not only the great story, but also the puppet work, which is some of the best I've ever seen. The designs of the Gremlins look awesome, and the cinematography is really good. The characters are also really well written. It's a very heartwarming family story as well as a slapstick creature feature. We open on Randall Peltzer as he's going to a small shop in Chinatown to sell his invention, the Bathroom Buddy, or as I call it, the Swiss Army shitter. So the shopkeeper doesn't seem too impressed, but Randall's interest is piqued after he sees a small creature, a mogwai. He offers to buy it for his son Billy for Christmas, but he's denied because of too much responsibility. However, this random small child is perfectly willing to doom an innocent family and possibly the fate of the world. So Randall buys the mogwai, now named Gizmo. But there are 3 rules. Don't get them wet, keep them out of sunlight, and don't feed them after midnight. We get introduced to Randall's son Billy and his co-worker Kate. We also see Mrs. Dingle. Dingle? Dangle? It's 2 days later, I just googled it, it's Deagle. So that's interesting. Who's a comically evil, dog-hating old woman. So later on, Billy opens his present and he is delighted. My favourite part is that nobody questions this small, seemingly magical new species, but whatever. We soon learn that bright light hurts them and sunlight will kill him. The next day, Billy, Gizmo, and some kid named Pete, played by Corey Feldman, are hanging out in Billy's room. And then fucking Edgar from the Lost Boys over here knocks over a jar of paint water on Gizmo. Feldman, you goon. So Gizmo falls to the ground and spouts out a ton of clones. So now there are a bunch of little Gizmos. Cool. Or not cool, because these mogwai seem to be a little more hostile. During the night, one of them, Stripe, even ties up the family dog with Christmas lights outside. That's fucked up, Stripe. What are you, a JoJo villain? The rest of the family immediately assume that this is Mrs. Deagle, because of her weird hatred for all animals and life and happiness. So Billy takes one of the mogwai to his science teacher, who runs some tests on him. That night, Billy is feeding the mogwai just before midnight, but Gizmo doesn't seem to want any for plot convenience. I'm just kidding, it's more so that Gizmo is not an evil little shit and he knows something's up. That night the mogwai start to grow into cocoons, ooh. The next day Billy sees that his clock was broken, and it was in fact after midnight. One of the mogwai chewed the cables. So Billy heads over to the lab, but unfortunately, it already hatched. Is that what you say? Do cocoons hatch, or do they more sort of just... I'm cutting that bit out because that is the worst footage of me to ever exist on this entire planet. Or whatever they do, a gremlin comes out of it and kills the science teacher. Billy heads over there, but the gremlin gets away. Cut back to the Peltzer household, and Billy's mum runs into a few of these ugly fucks in the kitchen. She kills a few of them, but Stripe gets away and heads into a pool, so you know, fuck. We then get scenes of the gremlins doing gremlin things, you know, destroying this guy's home and being carolers. Billy then meets back up with Kate after not being very important to the story for a while, and she talks about her dead dad. Cool? Cool. The Gremlins are in a theatre watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Pretty shit film if you ask me, but alright. Billy and Kate stick on the gas and throw a light in there, and somehow holds the door shut with the smallest, lightest piece of wood in the world. And the place explodes. Nice. The only one left is Stripe, who's hiding in a toy store. Stripe goes inside a fountain, but before he can multiply, he gets turned into frickin' mush by the sunlight. Absolutely stunning practical effects here as he's melting. One of the most underrated shots in the entire movie, I think. So everything is back to normal. The Peltzers are happy, Gizmo is safe, Kate has nowhere better to be. It's a wholesome ending. But then the shopkeeper from the start shows up, demanding Gizmo back. He says that Randall did not have the responsibility, but one day Billy might be able to. Cool. What makes Billy more able to look after Gizmo than Randall? Randall didn't do shit. Billy nearly ended the world. I mean, okay, fair enough. Maybe it was the Mogwai's fault for chewing the cable. But in that case, it's Corey Feldman's fault for pouring the water on him. So that was Gremlins. I know I jokingly talk shit about it a tiny bit, but this is just such an unhateable film. I feel like this is a lot of people's favourite Christmas film, and for a good reason. I don't want to seem like Ebenezer here, but I kind of dislike Christmas films. Not all of them, but I feel like a whole lot of them are just kind of overrated or bad. Like with Christmas films, you got Home Alone, It's a Wonderful Life, and I guess Planes, Trains and Automobiles, even though that's a Thanksgiving film. But Gremlins is an absolute classic, and it 100% deserves to be. As I said, the practical effects are great, the soundtrack is awesome, done by Jerry Goldsmith, who's done some great stuff before, like Omen, Rambo, Poltergeist, and quite a few more. I don't dislike any character here, not even Corey Feldman after he nearly ended the world. Billy was a pretty fun protagonist, and the romance being built between him and Kate was also pretty good, and didn't overstay its welcome. I think their relationship and the way they play off each other was a little better in Gremlins 2. However, Gremlins 2 is nowhere near as good as a film as this. If you guys want me to cover Gremlins 2, I can do, but it's not really a Christmas film, and I don't really have all that much to say about it. It's just kind of there. I can enjoy it while watching it, but it didn't really have much of an impact. But if you guys want me to, I will cover it. But yeah, goodbye.